Happy Monday. I think so. Today's theme is coming up as per usual. My life is as there are no shortages of practice opportunities in my life, as I'm sure is the case with everyone else here. It's one of the things I think that binds us here. And on my end, there have been quite a few people in my life these days with some pretty significant health scares, like hospital visits and the kind of thing where one minute a person's fine, the next um, they're undergoing some pretty intensive medical intervention, and it's hard to not have the mind spin. And I begin noticing a sort of a hypersensitivity to certain things happening either with myself or my partner that then lead to all kinds of assumptions and sort of fantastical predictions, anxious thoughts. And so one of the techniques that I use there is remembering to pose this question is once you notice the anxiety kick in, is to just hit the pause button and say, ideally identify the thought, oh my gosh, the fact that I'm having this pain in my abdomen must mean, and then fill in the blank. And then to pose this really amazing question, which is, who would I be without this thought? And the point being that if we can actually slow down enough and pinpoint and say, oh, here's the anxious thought that my mind is attaching to, then you can play this thought experiment of saying, well, in this moment, if everything was exactly the same, except my brain couldn't think this thought, what would I be left with? Like, who would I be? What would that situation be like? And yeah, I thought we could experiment with that a little bit. In essence, what we're doing is it's putting us back in touch with this really foundational definition of mindfulness, which I'll define here as paying attention on purpose to what is happening in the present moment without judgment. So, who would I be without this thought? Puts us back in touch with, well, I would be in this moment, I would be, and then fill in the blank. And you fill in the blank based on what you're noticing in terms of your sensory field and other thoughts or beliefs that may be bouncing around your brain. So, uh, as per usual, this is a bit of an experiment. So let's try it out, and let's start by closing our eyes and dropping into this present moment right now. Noticing the body, space, and time. Past is has happened. It's just a memory. Future still out there. You have no idea what's going to happen next. So we're left with just the simplicity of sitting, breathing, noticing. And imagining yourself just falling back into this bed of stillness, big couch, big pillows supporting you. All the activity, all the mental activity or sensory activity, playing itself out in this space of stillness. It's like moving shapes in the form of memories and ideas, words, images. But underneath all of that is just stillness, is this vast expanse of quiet, And it's happening now. Stillness is now. It is true that even thoughts about the past or thoughts about the future, they're also happening now. At least we can notice that the brain is thinking them now. Just paying attention to the content of those thoughts, they usually have to do with the past or the future. That's okay. It's just nice to know what we're dealing with. This is just brain thinking. It's thinking in this moment about events or people in other moments. And we can use our brain's ability to connect or access memories and see if you can connect to memory, either recent, maybe as recent as today, something that happened recently, where you noticed some degree of anxiety, that the brain was filling in all kinds of ideas about what was going to happen next because this situation occurred. Maybe it's something that someone said. Maybe it's a test result that came back from a healthcare provider you're working with. Maybe it's the political situation. And just noticing how quickly the brain fills in with some degree of certainty that, oh, yeah, this means that all of these things are going to happen in the future. So, right now, we're just trying to observe that process as it happens. So remembering where you were, maybe what you were doing when that thought took hold, and then just taking an inventory of what happened when the mind believed it all. What happened to the body? What happened to were other thoughts that followed that original thought? If that's going to happen, then surely these other things are also going to happen. And it means all of this stuff, and it's going to be a problem. So if you can, just sort of freezing that moment in time when you realize that the mind was attaching to an idea of the future. And then we just play this thought experiment of asking yourself in that moment the question, who would I be without this thought? Who would I be without believing this thought? And just notice what arises. There we are living our lives, doing what we're doing, and boom, suddenly there's this belief that enters the picture. And if we can catch the moment when that belief takes hold, then we can begin to notice the downstream repercussions of believing that thought. Or and then we can also imagine, all things being equal, us being there without that thought. How different would that be? And if you're having a hard time connecting with something specific there, I can sort of guide you into just think about the news cycle and financial markets. And I think many of us are, no matter where we sit on the political spectrum, there's a lot of sort of things that we're all anticipating are going to happen in the future, and it means certain things to us. So just noticing all of the stuff that gets triggered when we begin believing that we have an idea of what's going to happen in the future. Who would we be in this moment without any of those anxious thoughts about the future? We'd just be sitting in a chair, our eyes closed, surrounded by friends, maybe wondering what's going to happen next. Just noticing the stillness that's accessible through that question. Who would I be without this thought? Go ahead and take a deep breath in through the nose. Long, slow exhale through the mouth. Letting go of any anxiety that's come up with this exercise. Letting go. Hold the exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Another deep inhale through the nose. Slow exhale through the mouth. Letting go, relaxing the neck, the shoulders, the hands. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead, open your eyes. Come on back to this moment with tons of visual stimuli. Um, I hope that landed. If it didn't, we can do it again. Or I'm also available to chat a little bit about the specific technique. But in my experience, it's been a game changer for me to learn how to ask myself that question many times a day. So just, Ollie, who would you be without this particular thought in this moment? And then just being mindful and present to whatever comes up uh, has made a huge difference in my life. So I'm hoping it does the same for you. Take care, everyone. To see you tomorrow.